and Facebook Live going, and YouTube video recording, and podcast audio up and or running. So let's figure this gosh darn thing out. I love the fact that my mouse clicks do register on the microphone. You can hear me feverishly clicking a boot. All right. What's happening right now? I think this is happening.
I hope you're sure happy it's Tuesday. In the wine cellar.
All right. S-H-I-T.
Why are you trying to give me a glass? Just give me that bottle.
I hope you're sure happy it's Tuesday, fuckerinos. All right. And let me load this up just in case there might be some people tuned in. It is 3:26 a.m. on Tuesday morning, wine cellar. We just banged out a socialized episode and about 46 minutes, if I remember right, of Patreon only content. And that is up and available. There is Mohana, the dancer, over there posted up in the joint. The things that I have tagged on here, I have Bill O'Reilly defends Joe Biden, sex workers' rights, sea level rise, and a black nurse harassed by a Kamala. A Kamala is a cop. And actually, let's just jump right in there right now. DiversityInc.com. Excuse me. I like these little scrappy outlets. Like, I realize that that's what the wine cellar is now. One of those little scrappy outlets. It's like, we're just trying to tell as much truth as we know. All right. So it might just be myself and Mohana the dancer posted up in the joint here. All right. So this individual goes by the name of Stephanie Dash. And Stephanie Dash has made a statement that she was racially profiled while caring for a patient. Stephanie Dash is a nurse. All right, Dash is B, one of them they're black folks. And Dash noticed an officer peeping through the window, and then that same officer proceeded to knock on her patient's door. So apparently this is I think it's what folks call in-home care, for folks that use all that fancy vernacular and all that educated talk. So motherfucker peeping through the window and then knocked on the fucking door. Dash answered the door, and the overseer asked where the woman who lived in the house was. The overseer further cop-splained. Can we do that? Can we say he cop-splained? I actually don't know the gender identity of the overseer. But they cop-splained that the sheriff's department received a call saying someone in the neighborhood looked suspicious. Wouldn't someone in the neighborhood looking suspicious be someone outside? I don't know. Don't worry. Don't mind my questions. And so this is a quote from Dash's post on the Facebooks. The patient informed her that I was her home health nurse and confirmed that I was supposed to be there. End quote. In fact, the patient confirmed twice that Dash was indeed supposed to be in the house. Once the verification was made by the patient, that should have been the end of any police business. However, here we go. Deputy Rhonda, I understand Rhonda to be a femme name, probably a cis woman racist cop. However, Deputy Rhonda Casillas continued asking the patient questions regarding Dash's presence. Saying, now this frustrated Dash even more, and went as far as showing the deputy her work credentials. And the racist cop continued to question Dash. You know, just because you're like how I don't know how hard it is to become a cop, but I know that it is by federal, it's federally legal to discriminate against hiring someone to be a cop if they score too high on the IQ test. So maybe a little harder to be a nurse than a cop. And let me take a look right here, buddy chief. It should let me see this, because I'm trying to see Mohana the Dancer's comments here on the Facebooks Live on the William J. Jackson. Come on, Facebooks. Let me see it. Darn it to heck. What is wrong with this thing? All right, well that's booty crack. Let me see. Mohana the Dancer said the gig is that the home health care industry is overwhelmingly black. Oh, the gag. Oh, no shit, it is. These are the things I don't know. Yeah, I did not know that. I don't know most things, and Phoenix Collider deals with that on a daily. Wow, this device really will not let me click on the comments on the video. And that's, for a person with glaucoma, it would be much more convenient to do that. All right, let's dance it forward a wee bitty boo. Dash stated, quote, I had nursing equipment in my bag with my company logo on it. I had on scrubs and everything, stethoscope hanging from my neck, and the racist cop Rhonda, the racist Kamala, was still not convinced, so I went to my car and gave her my ID. You see, and that's what I was thinking too, like, what, did she get off a bus and walk through the neighborhood? And somebody was like, there's a nigger in here, and called the police. So apparently, somebody is some nosy ass looky-loo staring out the window and saw a nigger in scrubs get out of car, go to their neighbor's house who they probably know needs nursing care, and said, yes, I get to try to kill a nigger via cop, because they know that's what they're doing. Every time a white person calls a cop on a black person, that is attempted homicide, and sometimes fucking successful, i.e. Walmart. Forgot the homie's name with the airsoft BB gun, and Tamir Rice. Those are murders, right? Like that government gun monkey, we do point the finger at them. That is a human being that pulled the trigger, but the person that called on them, that is a murderer, because that government gun monkey was their trigger. All right, so she booba doop doop had a stethoscope hanging, still not convinced, went to her car and gave her ID. Even with her ID, the racist cop Rhonda Casillas continued to question her to the point where she said, okay, I'm calling my company immediately. Dash called her employer, who also verified her identity, and the employer asked the deputy point blank if Dash was being interrogated because she was black. Racist Rhonda lied and said no, and she responded that she wanted to know what Dash was doing in the neighborhood, as if Dash's scrubs, stethoscope, and work badge weren't obvious indicators that why she was in the neighborhood. The nurse asked the deputy to return to her to return her work badge, and Rhonda refused at first. This racist Kamala refused at first. Dash said she stood there for a few minutes, just looked at me, and then handed it back. I went back inside and tried to finish up with my patient. Dash attempted to again to finish the visit with the patient, and stated that I don't like the use of the word claimed. Claimed makes it sound like the nigger's just complaining. So typically when you hear me say the person said or the person stated, I'm replacing the word claimed in an article. That's my personal practice. And so Dash stated that racist Kamala Rhonda Casillas started with the questions again. Upon finishing the patient's care, Dash tried to leave, but to no avail. The racist Kamala, according to Dash, refused to move her car to let her leave. So this is, man, I mean, if anything would happen, I'd recommend a fucking lawsuit. Dash, who was now visibly angry, stated, quote, "Not only did you interrupt my patient care that she needed more than once, you also delayed me from getting to other patients. You wanted me to be a criminal, you didn't want me to be a nurse, and you definitely did not want me to be in that neighborhood," end quote. And then finally, the racist Kamala, Rhonda Casillas, moved her vehicle and allowed Dash to leave. Dash's employer, I can't pronounce that, Amadisis Home Health, has filed a report regarding the incident, and an investigation, bullshit, is pending. So the racist cops are going to investigate themselves. Dash also filed a complaint with the Williamson County Sheriff's Office. They will investigate themselves and find that racism doesn't exist. You're actually racist, you racist nigger. And racist Kamala, Rhonda Casillas, is still on active duty while an investigation takes place. I think I'm gonna post this to Facebook. I want this to get more traction. I need to put this on Social Dissonance. That is what I be needing to do. All right.
I hope you're sure happy it's Tuesday in the wine cellar. Baby, why are you trying to give me a glass? Just give me that bottle.
All right. Now, I've never heard of these folks before, but it's excuse me. PacificAIDSNetwork.org, and these folks, they call themselves Pivot, and apparently Pivot are some folks of whom I have to expand the size of their text because I can't see. Excuse me. So their mission is working collaboratively with Pacific AIDS Network and builds the capacity and skills of its members' organizations, including people with lived experience, to effectively address HIV/AIDS, hepatitis C, and related communicable diseases and conditions. Oh, excuse me. People with lived experience of HIV, hepatitis C, substance use, and mental health challenges are vital voices in our community. We work within a framework encompassing cultural safety and competence. All right. Now, these folks hit my radar because I just straight up, I get up, I go to the search engines, and I type in sex workers' rights, and then I go to the tools button and I put past week. And apparently, if you're in Washington State and you're one of them law talking folks, one of them lawyerizers, or you know one of them lawyerizers who's social justice minded, there might be a gig here. It's a job posting, a staff lawyer for sex work and human rights at Pivot Legal Society. All right. It's coming from Charity Village and PacificAIDSNetwork.org. The folks at Pivot are seeking a full-time staff lawyer to support their ongoing work with a focus on their campaign to advance the human rights of sex workers. All right. Now, about them, real brief here. I'm gonna skim through. Pivot works in partnership with communities affected by poverty and social exclusion to identify priorities and develop solutions to complex human rights issues. All right. And about you, what they're looking for. You understand how a lawyer can act as an ally and are comfortable navigating spaces that are intended for sex workers, including spaces available to women, trans women, gender variant, or two-spirit identified workers. You bring an understanding of the ways in which criminalization negatively impacts the health, safety, and human rights of people who trade or sell sex. All right? So that job posting is up there. I think I might also want to put that on Social Dissonance and Wine Cellar Media. And let me take a look here. Mohana the Dancer left a comment. working through my glaucoma here, homie loco. Says, thank you. Home care aides, nurses have enough problems with long hours, short pay, racist clients, and patients. Thanks. Fucking racism everywhere. And then, I mean, bang, the fuck? I don't know what the cats are out there doing, but something might be broken. Awesome. All right. We're going to get them boys fixed. And, yeah, then, I mean, it's general misogynoir. Like Mohana the Dancer informed us here that this in-home care is predominantly Negrofied. All right, so yeah, that Pacific AIDS Network, I'm gonna get that posted and try to bring some more visibility to that. That looks constructive. And continuing on sex workers' rights. I don't know this network a great deal, but this is the Daily Maverick. And they're making note of something here. Party policies leave out sex workers in the fight against gender-based violence. And I think this one has to do with South Africa, if I remember right. Yeah, in 2018, right there, looking back here, this article's from the 6th of this month this year. But in 2018, a multi-party women's caucus arranged a summit so that interested parties could comment on South African law reforms on, quote, adult prostitution. The report recommended two things: that sex work remains criminalized, or that it is partially criminalized. Damn, so decriminalized ain't even an option. It's just, hey man, we could either tell you to go fuck yourself, or we could just say fuck you, buddy. Pick one. All right, and the recommendations of this report left many sex work advocacy groups disappointed. However, the EFF manifesto promises to legalize sex work. Decriminalize, fucko. A lot of people who aren't sex workers often mix up the terms. And that is important. Like, words are important. When they hit these fucking documents that that white people get to force to be laws on the rest of the fucking planet because they got their hands on gunpowder and went roughshod for about 5 centuries. Words matter. Legalize and decriminalize. Do not use those interchangeably. All right, now this is a quote, but I don't see who the quote is from an individual named Lakani. Lakani says, there are roughly 4 legal models. There is criminalization, partial criminalization, which is also called the Swedish model, and decriminalization and legalization. All right. And the end quote. And the difference between legalization and decriminalization is that legalization would have certain requirements for sex workers, such as mandatory testing and licensing. Operating without the necessary licensing could result in criminal penalties. Decriminalization means that sex work is not criminalized and sex workers are protected under the existing labor laws. Decriminalization sounds pretty neat. Criminalizing sex workers the more of this article. That's the thing about reading articles on sex workers' rights. You want to get the news and get out of there, because the thing is, so many people are what one might call woefully ignorant on sex workers' rights, that every article, they give you the news and then I appreciate it. They try to explain to folks the simple facts, like the entry level into knowing about sex workers' rights. And if you're tuned into this program, you probably already know all that BIS-ness. I'm betting on it. And continuing on sex workers' rights. And this was put up April 5th on the New York Post via the Associated Press. So they don't have the journalist credited here. Excuse. In Amsterdam, sex workers are displeased at a red light district tours ban. All right, so apparently this place is Dutch. I don't. I've always known the term Dutch, which is kind of like the term American or English or British, but I don't know the name of the place. Like, welcome to the ignorant guy. But Amsterdam is apparently a Dutch place, and they're one of the latest places to attempt to rein in the nuisance of over-tourism by banning guided tours of the red light district, and has run into opposition from some of the people it is intended to protect: sex workers. The Dutch capital plans to ban such tours, saying they are disrespectful and contribute to congestion in the narrow canal-side streets where scantily clad sex workers sit behind windows to attract customers. The first step in the new policy was taken Monday night in the red light district, with tours banned from 7 in the p.m. On a recent Friday night, the problem was clear to see. Tourists bathed in a red glow emanating from the windows, and peep shows, neon lights were packed shoulder to shoulder as they shuffled through the alleys. But sex workers union, they got a sex workers union out that motherfucker, and it's called Proud. And they question whether banning tours will reduce tourist numbers, and argues that guides educate visitors and encourage them to behave more respectfully toward the workers. They put women toward the workers. And I don't know if when this person says women, if they're including trans women. I don't know. And taking a look here, Mohana the dancer left a comment saying, exactly about long articles explaining sex work. I learned in a NPR Code Switch podcast, all that splaining is called in, what is that? Explanatory comma. Huh. Hey, that's some journalist language for you right there. Yes. Less explanatory. Basically, if you come to the wine cellar, no explanatory commas. You just get a disgruntled Negro yelling at you his opinions about the news at 3 a.m. It's 3:48 a.m. right now, morning wine cellar. At 5 a.m. I need to be on my way out to the factory. Got to do some preventative maintenance work on a couple of packaging machines. And Mohana the dancer left a comment saying, there used to be a sex workers local in CA that was part of my union. Oh, shit, niggas got hella unions. I don't have any unions. I have a legal union with Phoenix Collider so we can file jointly for taxes. I think that helps us out a little bit. That's about all the unionizing I ever did in my life. All right, moving it. Oh, wait. Not off the Amsterdam joint yet. Okay, a little bit more on Amsterdam. And this is a quote from the Proud Union. It could also be that now there are no guides that people just wander into the area themselves and gawk at the women behind the window and take photos because there is no one anymore to inform them how to behave or what the rules of the game are in that area. End quote. I think that's the deal right there. So and then let's move down here a little bit. An individual by the name of Bobbien van Alast of the Dutch Tour Guide Association, they slammed the ban on tours, not just to the red light district, but to the other historic parts of the city. She said it means guides won't be able to explain to tourists where Rembrandt van Rijn painted one of his famous works, or where the painter's wife is buried. White people have interesting interests. They want to see where someone was buried. This tablet that I'm trying to use to see comments is really bugging out. Like, it's flashing at me and shit. I don't mean that in a trench coat sort of way. And a little bit more, apparently Tulsi Gabbard, who Phoenix Calida does not like. I don't know much about Tulsi Gabbard. I just know that Phoenix Calida be like, yo, fuck that nigga, son. But Tulsi Gabbard's talking about decriminalization. When they say these things, I have a lot of doubt on intention other than, bringing in a little extra progressive vote. Bernie Sanders, he has that honest to a fault thing where it's like dead up, yo, like with these ADOS niggas and reparations, that is never going to happen ever. Like at this point, I want niggas to just fucking lie. Just say, fuck yeah, down with it. Awesome, let's do it. It's not gonna fucking happen. It ain't. But fuck it, lie on that one at least. And shut these Tariq Nasheed fans the fuck up. And but Bernie Sanders, literally, when they asked him about decriminalization of sex work, he said, I don't have an answer to that question. And it's just like, oh, he's too goddamn honest. And so that's going on. And I think we can actually get to the one that is at the top. Oh, wait, whoa. Climate change. Okay, so climate change and then Bill O'Reilly. And then I need to get this uploaded. So, on the Chronicle Herald, and this article up by Andrea Gunn, published April 2nd, updated April 4th. Right now it is April 9th, 2019. Atlantic Canada on irreversible path to significant sea level rise. All right, folks that have been tuning into the Wine Cellar for at least 2 years have heard me say that about climate change. I think we have PNR'd, point of no return. It's in the can, folks. Let's start boiling. A new report on climate change has found that parts of Atlantic Canada will experience higher than average sea level rise in the coming decades, leading to more storm surges and flooding, ecosystem and infrastructure damage, and coastline erosion. And while lowering global emissions can mitigate some of the worst case outcomes, experts say this trajectory cannot be reversed, and governments need to also focus on protecting infrastructure and planning for the impacts of these projected rises in at-risk communities. All right, now, this was tabled on Tuesday by a sweeping report called Canada's Changing Climate. That's because it's only Canada. One of the main findings in this report, though, was that scientists have high confidence that Nova Scotia, PEI, and parts of New Brunswick, not the old one, fuck the old Brunswick, buddy, out with the old, in with the New Brunswick, and the island of Newfoundland. Nigga, white people, what? Why do you do these things? I can only imagine how it got the name Newfoundland. Some land that I'm guessing existed before Europeans got their hands on gunpowder and ran roughshod. This land already existed, already had humans on it, maybe other species, birds and whatnot, maybe a field mouse here and there, maybe even a hawk or an eagle. And Europeans showed up with their guns and said, hey, look at this. We've never seen it before, therefore it is Newfoundland. That's literally the name of maybe a city or a state, or I think in Canada they call them territories. Newfoundland, outstanding. All right, so these areas will experience a sea level rise higher than the global average during the coming century. An individual by the name of Thomas James is a research scientist with the Geological Survey of Canada who authored the section of the report that looks at sea level change and said for all possible emission scenarios, global sea levels are expected to rise, and that rise will be more pronounced with higher global carbon emission scenarios. According to the report, global mean sea level rise is projected to rise by 28 to 98 centimeters by the end of the century, but under a high emission scenario. The only area of Canada expected to see between 75 and 100 centimeters is Atlantic Canada. It's fracked up out there. All right. Now let's dance it on to the end. So you may have heard Joe Biden's name in the news recently. And one thing you might notice is diehard Democrats, all of a sudden, they're having trouble believing women. It's just, I don't know about that one, buddy. And I mean, considering that Joe Biden, if I remember right, is 74 years old, the same old diehard Democrats that looked at Bernie Sanders and said, ugh, I hate old white guys. All of a sudden, they really like this old white guy. They're having trouble believing women, and they're really into old white guys now. I don't know, maybe Biden's been working on his abs or no! I almost accidentally ended the live Facebook trying to see Mohana Dancer's comment. Mohana Dancer said, I blocked out of my mind that I grew up seeing that fool Bill O'Reilly on the local news in Denver in the 70s. L-O&L. Bill O'Reilly. Draft Dodger O'Reilly, some might call him. Like, that's the funny thing. Like, he literally only got a college education so that he could dodge the draft and then become a news commentator that's pro-war. Outstanding. So to help us understand the neoliberal Democrats' newfound love for old white guys, I think we need to go to an old white guy. Oh man! Oh, you know, my senior year at Lincoln Park High School, I forget the teacher's name, but he used to like to play Bill O'Reilly in the classroom, but like without giving us context, he just used to like to play it, and like it was just like, what's this guy's fucking deal? All right, so let's see. So BillO'Reilly.com. He's up here. He's not in those stuffy neckties anymore. He's letting it hang loose, right? Got a t-shirt, button-up shirt, not buttoned all the way up. He's keeping it casual, folks. All right, this is cool, Bill O'Reilly.
Biden has the biggest name. He's also one of the few moderates in the Democratic Party, and that is why he's under attack. Now,
all right. But Joe Biden is under attack because he's a moderate. And also, don't let me forget this. I need to see if Chris Matthews' show from MSNBC last night, April 8th, if that's like available, archived, if I can get that show. Because he had a Republican on there, a Republican who used to be a spokesman for John Boehner on there, arguing that the Democrats need to fucking quit with all the infighting and just focus on boxing out Bernie Sanders. It was bugged out. Like, you literally have Republicans and Democrats at a fucking round table together talking about how to get rid of Sanders. It's fucking bugged. All right. So Bill O'Reilly says they're attacking him because he's a moderate.
I know Senator Biden for a long time as vice president. I talked to him a few times. He never would sit with me for an interview. His boss, Barack Obama, did it 3 times. He would never do it because he knew that I would pin him down on various things like, why did you oppose the raid to get Osama bin Laden in Pakistan?
Wait, so he calls him a moderate, but then like he subtly he's like calling him a punk. Like, hey, well, you know, his boss, Barack Obama, did it. It's almost like given the fact that what we know about O'Reilly, it's almost like he's saying, well, the nigger that was in charge of him.
Biden was a dissenter on that. He didn't want to answer those questions, and he couldn't schmooze me. All right, he's a schmoozer. Biden is a schmoozer. So the progressive wing, the far left wing of the Democratic Party, doesn't want any part of Joe Biden for a number of reasons.
Says a progressive wing. Nigga, okay, check it out. Progressives are not Democrats. All right? And as far as the Democrats having a progressive wing, those are sheepdogs to get progressives to vote for Democrats. To my understanding, the vernacular sheepdog is like herding. It's to herd you little fuckers in. All right.
Number one, he's white. They don't want a white candidate if they can get a person of color. Number two, he's...
They actually don't give a blue fuck about that. All right. What the Democrats care about is, are you corporate? Are you pro-war? Are you anti-sex workers' rights? Yo, are you anti these fucking punk-ass poor people? Are you pro-charter schools? They don't give a... Yo, it doesn't matter if you're black or white.
He's a capitalist. Whoa. They don't want that. This is the...
Really? The Democrats don't want a capitalist? All right, Billy.
far left progressive wing of the Democratic Party. All right, number three, he's not politically correct. He says stuff like, oh, Vice President Pence is a good guy. And they went wild because Pence is a very religious man who doesn't believe in gay marriage.
That's not what political correctness is. You realize they've gone so deep in the well of their echo chambers and intellectually lazy colloquialism. They go beyond using words wrong. That word doesn't even apply to any of what he's saying. It's not that. There's no, saying someone is a nice guy, there is no political correctness in that. The closest you come to political correctness in that is if, like me, I know that there are non-binary and trans folks that are in the Wine Cellar audience, so I might say a nice person to not apply gender to it, and that would be me being politically correct, specifically keeping in mind who's tuned into the program, right? That would be politically correct. Or like when Republicans, when they make sure Newt Gingrich, the way he taught them Republican political correctness, when Newt Gingrich first got in the late 80s, if I remember right, Newt Gingrich made cassette tapes while he was in Congress, and then he went out and gave that to other Republicans in the districts and was like, these are the words you say whenever you get in the news, whenever you're interviewed. And like one of them was never say Democratic Party or Democratic candidate or Democratic congressperson. Always just say Democrat so that you can kind of lean on the part and say rat. So that was a political correctness he taught them when they call themselves pro-life and not forced birth. Like when you go by the facts, by fact, they are pro-forced birth. They're not pro-life because they don't care if you die. They don't care if the offspring dies. They just want to force a birth to happen. That would be accurate, but pro-life is politically correct because political correctness is speaking the vernacular, the language that is intended for a specific audience. And Mohana the dancer up in the joint said, using words wrong, but will whip out a dictionary on anyone else in a heartbeat. Yes. I wonder, Bill O'Reilly, if he has a dictionary. He probably really just has a stack of mint condition Hustler magazines. Kind of like how folks keep like comic books. where he's just like, oh man, this was the first time they did centerfold, buddy. I tell you what. And you gotta see when they started bringing in black chicks. He probably says it like that too. Black chicks? Oh man, fucking Bill O'Reilly. Let's see where he's going here.
They being the progressives. So you had to derail Joe Biden. Now, how could you derail him? He's got a pretty good reputation within the Democratic Party. President Obama likes him. Well, you got to bring out the playbook. And what does the playbook say? You want to attack somebody and destroy them? Me too. Me too. Look.
Bill O'Reilly, who's no longer on the Fox News gig, somehow has a problem with Me Too. And he's calling it the playbook. This is the playbook. Come on, Billy. Uh-oh, there.
With Justice Kavanaugh when he went through. What happened there? Now, they didn't get him, but it was that close. That was a big win for the far left in America, the Kavanaugh thing, even though they didn't get him.
Wait, so, all right. You see that? Like how he's literally arguing with himself because he's not trying to make sense. He's just being politically correct for his target audience, right? He's saying that it was a big win even though they lost. Like Kavanaugh has the seat. How is that a big win for progressives who are not Democrats? Come on.
So close. So now they go, well, look, Biden, you know, he some woman 5 years ago, Flores is her name. Yeah, it was too close. I didn't like it. And then, of course, another woman came out in Connecticut. Oh, yeah. And, you know, and you'll see more. As more as they need. The progressives will get them. So this is what's going on in America. If you want to destroy somebody, you just accuse them.
Oh yeah, just make an accusation. How's that working with the rapper game? Huh? Hell, I think R. Kelly is finally being slowed down. Finally. You know, I mean, I don't know that many celebrities. Excuse my ignorance of celebrities, but I'm sure folks could rattle these off the top of their heads all day, right? Like, is Harvey Weinstein in a bad way right now? Are things going terrible for the Weinstein? Right? Hell, Dr. Dre fucking beat the shit out of D. Barnes back in the early 90s. Remember that shit? I think that was about 91, either late 1990 or early 91, where Dr. Dre beat the shit out of D. Barnes. And that was a conversation in the hip hop community. Like, folks were getting at him about that. Eazy-E was dissing him on it and shit, and things aren't looking too bad for him. Drace to the Gangsta, you know, got spotlighted on the Vlad TV in recent months. Right? See, now I know underground niggas and rap niggas. That's about all I've got. The niggas from Run DMC. Hell, Daryl McDaniels. Fucking married a 17-year-old. He was literally creeping outside of high school. Yeah, DMC or Run DMC. You know, like these niggas. They really think that that rape culture is gonna end or that fucking patriarchy is under attack. It's like, nah, nigga. You just got a couple of us folks that think it's wrong. All right, that's Morning Wine Cellar, and again, got to give it up to the folks that came through in the joint on the Patreon. Heather Loco and Rowan Loco and Mary Loco hitting up the old Patreon, and a nigga named William L and Hope Loco hitting up the PayPal. We actually use that shit. I do plan on getting a snowblower in the summer. I'm going off this assumption that maybe they're cheaper when it's not snowing. I'm not a financial scientist. Yeah, scientist. That's the word. Yeah, I'm not a financial scientist, but I assume a snowblower would be cheaper in the summer, as well as ice melt. Got to get some of that shit. I got 3 free bags from a corporation that left them outside. So I got that. I do have 150 pounds of ice melt right now. But I think to get through a winter here, I'd say I think a minimum need about 400 pounds of ice melt. So once I have 400 pounds, I'll stop and I'll wait for winter and I'll see how it works out. All right. And that'll be that. That's your morning wine cellar. It is 4:11 a.m. I got to stop this, get this gosh darn thing uploaded to YouTube and to the podcast feed, and then post the links to the stories. And then I got to get down to the factory. Ooh, and I get to use my new screwdriver set. I got a new screwdriver set to do some preventative maintenance work because they're like super tiny screwdrivers because we have to disassemble some electrical parts and do the PMI on those. Outstanding. All right, Facebook Live. You please be as safe as possible wherever you are. And YouTube, you have a good one yourself. All right, remember patreon.com/winecellarmediafund, paypal.me/Phoenix and William. Right, hold the wine cellar down to keep the wine cellar up.